legends, so last night we wrapped up Corey Sandhagen versus Davidson Figueiredo, and wasn't that a card? Wasn't that a UFC card? Honest to God, we were on track to be having one of the worst cards of the year until we got to the last three fights of the night. There were points there where I wanted to claw my eyeballs out. So, we're going to go through the card. We're going to break it down together. Some of the highs, some of the lows, a lot of the lows, then some of the standout performances. So, let us get right into it. I'm not going to go through every single fight. Okay? Because not every single fight deserves it. But there were some standout moments, and luckily the card did pick up to be kind of fun. You know, at least it wasn't one of those cards where it was only the main event that was fun, you know what I mean? We kick off, right? We got Juliana Milja and Ivana Petrovic straight away. Now, she says, Ivana Petrovic, she's got her flag as Croatian, but when you actually look at the ethnic makeup of her, she is actually Serbian. But then she went on to lose. So I'm not sure how true my ethnicity stats on the Serbs versus the Croatians are, because as we know, guys, in the UFC, so far, true-born Serbians are actually undefeated. So it might be right there. She might actually be Croatian. But yeah, it's a WMA fight. We move on almost instantly. We started talking about our Halls of the Valhalla tier list instead. But we move on to Thomas Peterson versus Don'Tale Mayes. Now, I predicted this fight would be two fats, so I didn't bother predicting this fight at all. And it turns out I was completely correct. It was indeed two fats. Starting off a crowded event with a WMMA fight, two fats, and then moving on to two WMMA fights. UFC, you set yourself up for failure tonight. There's a reason the card was below mid. Moving on to Quang Le versus Gaston Bolaños. Now, Quang Le got the message from the UFC. You know, the UFC said to Quang Le, listen, there's going to be a WMMA fight, then there's going to be two fats, then there's going to be you, then there's going to be another WMMA fight. Do everything you can to make this fight as boring as humanly possible. They called Gaston Bolaños. They said, mate, don't even try and get any submissions attempts. Gaston Bolaños went, no. I'm not coming in here looking like Ilia Topuria and not trying to fight. So Gaston Bolaños, he was at the meeting for the prelims. The scriptwriters said, make this as boring as you can. But he said, I am going to have a go. And even when Quang Le was on the choke and Gaston was meant to quickly tap and get out of there without any real damage coming to him, he said, fuck this. I actually want to have some fans. We'll get to the Jeremy Stevens fight. Believe that, boys. But Gaston Bolaños went out in a brutal choke. Passed out, asleep. Gaston, you are a Chad. That is how you go to sleep, like an absolute bloody warrior and a hero. The halls of Valhalla look down upon you, Gaston, and they smile at you, sir. Thank you so much. On behalf of a humble MMA fan, thank you for being entertaining on a Saturday night for Americans, on a Sunday here for Australians. Thank you for having the guts to go out there and actually entertain us, the fans. I sincerely appreciate it. We move on to Gillian Robinson versus Marina Rodriguez. Now, there's a bit of a scrap. You know, the girls are going at it. I went back and I watched it after the fight because, again, we were talking about the Halls of Valhalla. And Marina Rodriguez, you know, during the striking exchanges, she chooses to latch up a guillotine and ends up on bottom, underneath Gillian Robinson. Let me know if you've heard this story in MMA before. Advancing fighter, latches up Gilly, ends up on bottom. Gillian Robinson rains down ground and pound. You heard that before? Yeah. When are they going to start getting it into fighters' heads to stop throwing these Hail Mary guillotines and ending up on bottom position? Ending up on bottom position for no reason at all when you don't need to be down there. Sounds a lot like the main event, doesn't it? Let's move on, right, to Azmat Bekhtov versus Ryan Loder. Ryan Loder, Azmat Bekhtov. The gates of Valhalla have swungeth open for both of you. We needed this so bad. By now, we are 1, 2, 3, 4 fights into this card, and we're starting to get worried. And Ryan Loder and Azmat Bekhtov, they come out, back up against the cage. Azmat is just swinging on Ryan, and he's landing on Ryan. And Ryan's like, fuck this, mate. I'm going out of my fucking shield. Oh, my name ain't fucking Bo Nickel. Ryan Loader starts swinging back like an absolute bloody madman. Good on him. Eventually, Azmat just gets those body shots in there and absolutely crumples him. There's looks on the faces of a man when he is in there and he knows that he is in trouble. Ryan Loader and Bo Nickel had two completely different looks on their faces. Now, fair enough to Bo Nickel. He threw out a couple of shots just to see what would happen before he crumbled. But Ryan Loader went, no, I will not lose, and then lost. But he did it with, again, from an MMA fan, thank you from your performance. We move then on to Yana Santos versus, maybe we will cover all the fights. You know what? We will. We move on then to Yana Santos, and you'll never believe this. It's 2025, and she's in there with Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate. It's 2025. She's in there with Miesha Tate. And it looks like exactly how it should. It looks exactly like Miesha Tate. She's from that school of women when I actually really had a lot of respect for WMMA. And if you want to know why I don't have a lot of respect for WMMA, I've released a video about what's happened to WMMA over the last few years. I used to be one of those guys that would stand up for WMMA and say it deserves its place. Because there was a level of female fighter that used to exist that would stand and bang, and they had to prove themselves in the sport. I'm not going to break down the entire video again, but it's on there. If you go to the channel, you'll find it. Miesha fought like that. She fought with grit and determination. She fought like she wanted to win, which I really, really fucking respect. Really, I truly do fucking respect it. The problem is, Miesha is from that era, from back in the long ago. And unfortunately, that era doesn't really stand up to modern era. And Yana Santos is a modern era fighter. And the modern era of WMMA met the old school hard nut, I'm going to swing and have a go, Miesha Tate. Now, Miesha is a very talented WMMA fighter for her era. Unfortunately, when you add age on top of that, it just doesn't carry over, and Miesha Tate lost a valiant decision to Yana Santos, and it was enjoyable to watch. We now move on to the main card of Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens. He's been poached from BKFC. He has been brought back into the UFC to fight Mason Jones. This is solely for Jeremy Stevens. Mason Jones, you will be fighting on the Apex prelims for the next 3 years. Fuck you. From the fan, I've given a lot of the fighters a lot of credit so far for their warrior spirit. Mason Jones, fuck you. Fuck you, Mason Jones. We needed, those first 2 rounds were fucking amazing. They were so good. They were fucking amazing. War was the battle cry from both of them. Mason Jones was outschooling, outclassing, outfighting Stevens. Stevens was biting down on his mouthpiece. Again, one of those older generation fighters who was having a red hot crack of it, having a go. The fight was absolutely beautiful. 3rd round comes out. Mason Jones sticks to Jeremy Stevens like herpes to the human body. Sticks to it, latches onto it, and will not let go. And he was doing it purposefully. We know he was doing it purposely because he literally fucking apologized for it at the end of the fight. So I don't look into the camera and say, fuck you, Mason Jones, and expect him to not be surprised by that. The fans were booing him. He asked for the fans to boo him. You knew what you fucking did in there. So this is the sort of passionate response you're getting from a passionate MMA fan. I want to be angrier at Mason Jones, and I was in the moment. However, Larry from the chat brought up a great point. I believe it was Larry. I think it was Larry from the live chat. Someone in the live chat, Larry, you're getting the credit for this one, mate, brought up a great point, and I have to agree with him. This is the fault of the UFC's. Yeah? This is the UFC's fault. What Mason Jones did in there is not Mason Jones' fault. It's the UFC's fault. Mason Jones had a brain, right? Like, if you're in the UFC and you're on 70k to show, 70k to win, you got 2 rounds in the bank, you could risk losing and having a war with Jeremy Stevens in the last round for a maybe 50k bonus if you lose. Or you can stick to him. You can stick to Jeremy Stephens, out-grapple him, and guarantee yourself that extra 70k win, not win bonus, but I won the fight, I get the rest of my pay. Fighters are kind of incentivized to make sure they get the win rather than chase the finish. Now, there's a whole other video and a whole other discussion that is going to go into how to fix this problem because we were so enraged with it, and the next fight was so fucking dull we had time to talk. That we're gonna talk about this in a later video. But Mason Jones did what he had to do to get the win. We fans call that boring. Fighters on the commentators on the desk will say that that's not the way to go. That's not the way to win fans. You're absolutely right. You pay the fighters, UFC. You pay them like they need to fight to make sure they get the win. So we got to have a conversation about that because, again, Mason Jones did what he had to do to get the win, and what you have to do to get the win is directly correlated to doing what you have to do to get fucking paid so you can feed your family. Or gamble it all for a little bit. Like, again, you're on 70k to win. Well, we'll give you an extra 50k if you get the win. 25k if you get the win. Like, okay, I'd rather just take the guaranteed win. Thanks, Dana, if you're even here, which you're not. City versus Cameron Smotherman. Go to the PFL. Cameron Smotherman, you need to unleash combinations. Fair enough. Fighters like Smithy City, fighters like Ian Gary, point fighting kickboxers that want to win particular rounds. Luke Thomas did a great video on this week. And you know you've got problems when even Luke Thomas agrees that your fights are getting boring. Like, Luke Thomas is the thinking man of MMA. And no one wants to watch you put on a boring 25-minute, get a couple of leg kicks in, dance around to the outside. Teep, pop, jab, jab, dance around, go to the outside, you know? Israel Adesanya of that era, Ian Gary, Sethri City. The PFL has got a system where you can go and try and make some money, and there's no fans over at the PFL for you to disappoint. It's perfect for you. Go to the PFL. No one's watching, so no one will boo you. And if you point strike enough for enough fights in a row, you'll win $500,000. So for God's sake, do us all a favor. You are clearly not here for fans. The UFC's not going to give anyone like you a title shot or even any kind of engagement. So you don't want fans. You don't want UFC money. Just fuck off. Go to the fucking PFL. Montel Jackson, Daniel Marcos. At this point, I am screaming that I want to rip my eyeballs out using a used Coke spoon that has been left on the floor of the bathroom of a John Jones boy on a night out, right? What we are seeing in the cage is killing me. The fight pace has slowed down completely. We have maximum violence for 2 rounds in the Jeremy Stephens Mason Jones fight. The 3rd round starts and the card fucking plummets. It feels like the soul and the life has been sucked out of the card, and I want to die, especially watching what Daniel Marcos is doing to Montel Jones. But then Montel Jones gets the win, and jubilation and happiness run through my body, and Daniel Marcos spits the dummy at the decision, and I love it so much. It is wonderful. It brings me joy now just thinking about it. Oh, so Montel Jackson, just take the win, mate. The fans won. The UFC did that to Daniel Marcos. I bet they called the commission and went, fucking get him. Do not give him this win. So then the newest top 100 hip-hop artist coming out of LA gets in there against Santiago Ponzinibbio, Daniel Rodriguez. These two know how to have an old school fight. These two have a classic punch-up where it is old school. I love it. I loved watching it. I just thank you. Zero skill, old school swing and bang. Daniel Rodriguez gets the win. He says, I'm going to be releasing an album, you know. Shout out to Tyron Woodley. I'm sure it's going to go great. Not exactly my style of music, mate, but fucking good luck to you. I love it. Then, Renard the Riddler, the opponent fiddler, gets in there against Bo Nickel. UFC 300 superstar, Bo Nickel. I'll beat Hamzat Chimaev, Bo Nickel. Robert Whittaker is lucky I was hunting and didn't have reception, Bo bloody nickel, mate. Oh, Bo. How many men would beat? How many men? 100 men versus one gorilla? Who would win, Bo Nickel? I would. Give me 3 of me. I'm such a natural striker, I don't even think I'll throw a single takedown. And the Riddler fiddles him, mate. Fiddles him. All the up against the cage, reverses position, to the body, rips him to the body, and you can see the moment on Bo Nickel's face when he knew that this fight wasn't going his direction. He swings a couple of hooks, they don't work, and Fiddler gets up in his guts and gives him the final fiddling and fucking puts Bo Nickel out for good, mate. For good. It's done. People in my chat saying Bo Nickel can bounce back. No. No, you're done. Bo Nickel, you're done. It's over for you. Fiddler then goes to call out Sean Strickland. I love that fight. But I want Sean Strickland to fight Robert Whittaker. How dare you call my jawless Australian, beautiful man, Robert Whittaker, especially with that new jawline. Oh, how dare you call him a can. So, Sean Strickland, unfortunately, that ass is reserved for the Australians. The Fiddler. However, Toad? Was it you, Toad, in the chat? Toad in the chat? The ideas man, Toad is. Let me tell you, the ideas man. Toad in the chat goes, give him Izzy. And I like that. The Riddler versus Izzy. Now, I like that a lot. I don't care what the Riddler's ranking will be after this. It's a good fight. It's a good fight, right? They've both got a... Like, Izzy's hype is declining, and it's a winnable fight for Riddler. If Izzy gets that back, it's a good easy. It's an old school, like, boxing, I gotta get back in there, give me a tune-up fight, or is it? You know? I like it a lot. The Riddler for Israel Adesanya, get fiddled Izzy. Izzy would like that to sell that fight as well. You know? Adesanya versus the Fiddler. Izzy would like that fight as well. So I like that a lot. And then, of course, the main event. Here we go. Corey Sandhagen versus Davidson Figueiredo. Davidson Figueiredo is a former champion. You know? He's a former champion. And that was embarrassing to watch. I'm sorry. I know. Some dude in a chair. Shut up. I get it. But the amount of time that he spent on bottom on purpose, going for this mythical leg lock that was never there, and the look of almost contempt that Corey Sandhagen had on his face at moments of that fight, looking down at Figueiredo, going for this heel hook that was never there. And Corey was just like, I could get up, but I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you. And then to go back there, and to go back there, and to go back. Like, Figueiredo kept going back there. And then at the end, when his knee popped, it's like, oh, what a horrible injury. But I think us, the fans, you know, got to Corey Sandhagen. Hear me out, right? We have been laughing at Corey Sandhagen for almost a year now about he's the beakers and test tubes kind of fighter. You know, like, he's not got that killer instinct. He's the bookworm, right? This is the narrative of Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen, at the post-fight presser, it was very, like, easy to let this one slide over your head. But at the post-fight interview, Corey Sandhagen goes, no, I knew that was going to happen. It's a 50-50 position, and if you don't know what you're doing down there, that's going to happen to your knee, and he didn't know what he was doing down there. Sorry, what? What was that? You knew? You blew... Davidson Figueiredo's 37, man. He's 37. He's 37, dude. You just destroyed his kneecap. Everything inside of his kneecap is jelly, right? He's not coming back. He'll come back, but you know what I mean. He's not coming back to the level of this level. He's not coming back the same. You just ended Davidson Figueiredo. And Beakers and Test Tubes Nerdhagen, the guy that reads about warrior spirit but doesn't have it, just implied that he did it on purpose. We need to change the narrative on Nerdhagen. Bro is a fucking killer, man. He's a fucking killer. That's what killers do. And he was so nonchalant about it as well. Yeah. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, that's going to happen. And I knew he didn't know what he was doing. Fuck. That's fucking fucking horrifying, bro. That's fucking horrifying. Little bit of controversy, which how it's gone down in the book. So it's gone down. I don't know if anyone's betting has been ruined because of this, but there's a little bit of controversy. It's gone down as a KO, TKO knee injury. But Figueiredo tapped. He tapped, right? That should be a submission. Like, it reminded me, the moment Tim in the live stream was talking about it, it reminded me, but we were busy having an argument about whether or not American wrestling is any good or it isn't. It isn't. It reminded me of, so I wrote it down, Michel Oleksiejczuk, right? He got TKO'd knee. So, right. So, Davidson Figueiredo goes down as a TKO knee injury, even though he quite literally physically tapped. However, Michel Oleksiejczuk went out as a verbal submission, even though his arm broke, against Kevin Holland. So, the Kevin Holland stoppage, where he just screamed out in pain, goes in the books as a submission. However, Davidson Figueiredo, because of a joint popping, so Michel Oleksiejczuk screams out in pain because of joint pops. That is considered a verbal submission. Corey Sandhagen rolls over Davidson Figueiredo, causing his knee to snap, essentially, knowing what is going to happen to his knee. Davidson Figueiredo is such a goddamn fucking Chad. He doesn't let out a squeal during it. He's just like, oh, my leg snapped in half. Mr. Sandhagen, could you please stop? Actually taps, and that goes down as a TKO. Once again, MMA makes no sense. Just whatever we all sit here for hours every week trying to sound like fucking experts. MMA is make it up on the spot. Make it. There's an acronym there. MMA. There's an acronym there. Leave it down in the comments. That's a good place to end the video. No, one more thing. Sandhagen, does he deserve a title shot after Merab beats O'Malley? Who else are you going to give it to? It's one of those kind of fights. Like, do you believe Sandhagen can beat Merab? I don't. Does he deserve it? Who else? Who is he going to give it to? What are you going to do? What else are you going to do? What is he going to do? So that's that. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Dougie. I make an MMA video every day of the week. I got some content planned for this week. Believe that. We're going to have fun this week. JDM dominance is incoming. He's built different, boys. He's built different. So, if you want to see all of that, hit that subscription button down there. I go live at least 3 times a week. If you want to know when all that happens, hit the notification bell next to the subscription button. Let me know down in the comments what's next for Sandhagen. Can Bo Nickel rebound? What do you think about the fiddler? Who do you want to see get fiddled next? Put it down there in the comments. And if you're one of the paying members of the channel, thank you all so much. Appreciate all of you. Even you, Zesty Drickus. Appreciate all of you being here. And I'll see you all in the next video. Your names are up on the next slide. See you, boys. Have a good one. Bye.